Hey everyone, today is January 17th, 2024, and we got a ton of snow last night and early this morning. Tonight I'm making a camping video out of my woods, and I'll go walk to the campsite and show you that. So right here you can see very deep snow on top of the firewood. That's why we got it covered. Hopefully most of that isn't too bad in there and melted, because I'm about to take that apart and actually move some of that to a firewood rack right next to the house. Every now and then I'll move one pallet at a time. Takes about 6 wagon trips. Right here, this giant pile the size of a car, that's a whole bunch more wood that I'm probably not going to touch this season, but it's covered. Come summertime, I think I'm going to slit the top of the tarp so vapors can come out of it in the hot sun, but not enough where much water would get into it, if you know what I mean. And then I'll just duct tape that shut for next winter. That's a reused tarp from one of our camping videos, so it already has a bunch of spark holes and that kind of stuff. We take you over here to the trash. Listen to this creepy noise it makes. It's very cold out. This trail, no one's walked down it or anything. We got a half a moon. The snow is all up in the trees, but this was some of the fluffiest snow I've ever seen. So all it takes is a slight wind and it knocks so much of it down. All right, so let's take a walk into the woods. This is a trail. I had to go get the roof rake that I keep over here in the edge of the woods. There's one of the firewood racks. Here's a fire pit. The wind, every now and then there's a slight gust, but it's been pretty still all day. Once I get into the woods, the snow won't be as bad because it's all stuck up in the trees. Right now, I believe we're sitting at exactly 0 degrees Fahrenheit, -17 Celsius. We'll get a little bit colder, especially with the clear sky, maximum radiational cooling. We got a trail going down here. We got a trail coming up here. This is where the pallet house is. Today I made a video. I'll probably post it in 10 days. I usually post non-old food videos, just food review videos on my other channel on Wednesdays, halfway through the week. I tried a century egg, which is a preserved egg, and it makes it turn black, but it tasted to me the same as a hard-boiled egg. So we'll see if any animal eats it, because it definitely doesn't smell like a normal egg. Get all this to slide off. Pallet house is holding up. We'll let it slide off naturally. There's no snow forecasted, but next week, one day it'll get to 38 degrees, 4 degrees Celsius, and that should be enough for things like that to slide off the roof. Perfectly dry inside. We'll see if that'll hold up all winter. I love dive lamps. They generate heat, so I'm going to switch hands, start holding on to that now, and it keeps my hand nice and warm. I actually ordered a second diving lamp, the exact same thing, and I have a bunch of sets of batteries that I can keep swapping back and forth, because they burn through batteries fast, generating all that heat. Got a bunch of rechargeables for it. Here it looks like we got coyote tracks. Look, turned around and went right back. Nope, turned around and went a slightly different way. It's probably coyote. Could be a big raccoon. We got some pretty big raccoons out here. Nice and still. Temperatures this cold are bad if there's the slightest wind. We had one of the biggest windstorms I've ever seen that had some gusts up to 70 miles an hour, which is unheard of for around here. Thankfully, I can't believe it, I only lost a couple trees, including the one you're seeing here. Including this one, I only lost 3 trees that I know of. I've been down all my trails, but you see all the trees laying on the ground. That was from last year. I lost 50-something trees last year during a windstorm. Did pretty good this year, even though the wind was way stronger. I guess last year got all the weak ones. You lose more trees around here when we have a wind blowing from the east-west. because most of the time the wind is blowing the other way. So the trees don't reinforce themselves to put up with that unusual, rare wind. All the snow's fresh, so the tracks just happened today. You just got to squeeze under these trees carefully, only about a 3 foot, 1 meter clearance. If I bump them, all the snow is going to fall on me and down my neck, which is not comfortable at all. It turned around again, completely, it looks like. And now we're coming up to my snow-blowed part of the trail at this fork. To the right, goes back to the house. Got a bunch of wood piles down there. I'm gonna switch hands again. This light works really good for that. Here's the biggest tree in the yard. Second biggest tree in the yard that fell over a few years ago. Birdhouses. Right here's another fork that I snow blow. Not really any reason. It made it a bit easier using the snowblower to get to my camping spot. I don't expect to bring any wood back this year like I did last winter. I was bringing loads back constantly. Last year I burned about, I'd say, 90% my own firewood. This year I'm burning about 60% bought firewood. It's still like half the price of buying fuel for the furnace, and it works a lot better than these trees. When you have evergreens, they only have about half the heat value of hardwoods, so I bought hardwoods, and it actually will go in the fireplace twice as long. It'll also, yeah, you don't have to touch it for half as long. I mean, twice as long with the hardwoods, which is good for going overnight. I could leave the house for 24 hours. It's still hot enough to combust. You don't have to kindle another fire on the way back. The trees here still have a lot of snow on them. Looks really beautiful. This is where the blowdown was last year, where we lost a couple dozen trees in one spot. And to see this is like a triangle of log piles. Eventually will be brought back to the house with the wagon. And a lot of these logs are so small, I probably don't have to split them, which is good. And they'll last longer throughout the night, not being split. Today, I did some meat smoking, and I'll just save it for everyone to watch that video of camping. But yeah, I'll probably post this video actually after camping, after I post the camping video, so I'll talk about it. Right here we have another trail that goes all the way to the back of the yard. We're gonna go this way. So today I smoked a bunch of chicken legs in my smoker I made last week. Did a camping video at the smoker. The tank camp, I made it into a smoker. Last week we smoked some pork bellies, came out really good. Today I did some chicken legs, also came out really good. But that smoker, it burns through wood pretty fast, even while it's just smoldering and smoking. So I've been throwing entire 12-inch round logs into it so it can go a lot longer without maintaining it, you know, just to get some good coals burning in there. Then we put some good wood on top of it to make some nice smoke taste. To me, all smoke tastes the same, no matter what it is. They say you're not supposed to use evergreens because of the resin. It can make someone sick. It's not necessarily dangerous, but it could make someone a little sick. I've never had that issue, but there's the creepy mannequin with the cowboy hat covered in snow. Got that a while back at a going out of business sale of Olympia Sports. Right here's still a bunch of trees down. Eventually camping will clean all this stuff up. Got some more tracks. The woods are open enough that they don't really have to use the trails, the animals. Looks like the same thing. These actually look a little smaller, maybe a raccoon. Right there, probably a mouse, that one. Mice also, half of the time, like to burrow. That's why you'll randomly see their trail disappear, because they're burrowing underneath. And when it's this cold, it's actually the warmer choice, going underneath. So my trail continues straight here. There's a couple bridges There's a well. I'm going to cut through this, which is not really a trail, but it's pretty open. Right here's another log pile that I have very easy access to pull this back to the campsites. So maybe next time I smoke meat, I'll grab this, which is buried right there. Use the toboggan to bring it back, or the jet sled. Right here's this low spot's actually a temporary stream that during heavy rainstorms will trickle. Where is my campsite? Alright, we're coming up on it. Oh, this is where we camped last year. You might remember this camping video. These two trees that fell over in opposite directions, completely different storms. Most storms will push a tree over that way. That's the way the trees are strong. But a lot of them come down, and there's more damage during a storm when the wind blows that way, because they're not made for that. And a lot more will come down, especially uprooting. The roots aren't strong in that other direction. So today I took as many logs as I possibly could from here. These ones, if I really wanted, I could come out with a sledgehammer, but this is what I was able to get without the sledgehammer. So this big pile here is basically just rotten junk. It may not look that bad to you, but they are very soft when I've attempted to move them and burn them in the summer. And also they absorb, because they're kind of rotten, they absorb like a sponge rain. So they're usually very heavy and wet, something that wouldn't burn. In a drought, they'd probably burn. But during a drought, I don't have campfires. So this is the remains of everything I got back. I'm hoping to throw that in there and get this thing fired back up so I can cook in it in the morning for breakfast when I wake up from camping. It melted around here, so this is pretty slippery as it refroze. Let's see how we're doing in there inside the smoker. Still got a good amount, a couple rounds in there. I'm going to throw these couple rounds in there that I was using as a table. And look, my Gatorade's just about melted being next to the tank. I realized for an accurate reading, this has to be on the inside of the door. It was telling me it was running too cold earlier for cooking meat. Stuck this to the inside of the door. No, it wasn't. It's so cold that this external thermometer can't be accurate. I got to get one with a probe on the inside. Actually, that's something I should probably order before I forget. See the pieces of rebar? I can stick a grate in there, cook chicken or whatever on a grate. Grate's now up here. I'm trying to burn off the remains of the chicken. I put the chimney cap on, which helps snuff it out. And also this upper part is where I can put meat hooks and hang things like I did with the roast earlier in the week. Let's look at the temperature. It was -1 before, but we've gone up now to like 8, 6, yeah, 6, I think. Yeah, we went up to 6 degrees. We're supposed to drop into the lower negatives again, or the, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, lower negatives. So we'll be back down to about -20 Celsius by tonight for camping. So this is what I'm using tonight for camping. It's a children's tent, but it's also a summer tent. You're not supposed to be camping in this cold weather, but I have a -30 sleeping bag in there, so that will be pretty good, I think, for tonight, especially because there's no wind. If I'm really cold, I'll turn these heaters on for a little bit. I'll take those in with me when I'm ready to sleep. It's like 10:30. I'm not probably going to sleep until 12 or 1. I'm still pretty awake, so I'm just between my video wandering around the woods, made a vlog video. I took off for a little bit with the car, showed some frazzle ice, which I'll show in a video too at some point. Yeah. But camping out here is going good. I think before I wander back off for another hour or something, I should probably I probably should throw those couple rounds in there, get them cooking before we run out of this stuff to kindle it. This is my poker stick. I just jam it in there. I said in my original video, but I'll ask again, does anyone know, do they make plastic rebar guards? These aren't at a bad angle, but that one a little bit. I don't think it's really necessary. If I fell against that, it's not going to be severe like if it was on the ground. But construction sites, if they're sticking straight up, you're supposed to put a little piece of plastic over the top, so if you fall on it, it doesn't go through you. I'm just wondering if they make metal ones. Probably not, but I would need a metal one. It's so cold out that this is very little warm. I could touch it forever. Here's cold, but in the summer it might radiate enough to melt it. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't. We switch hands again. This thing works really good for heating up hands. It's very hot, this dive lamp. It also does other things. It medium, low, off. It does red, does blue. Well, that looks really cool in the snow. It's like one of those lights you look in a hotel and you can see bodily fluids like they show on TV when they're looking to see if hotel rooms are actually clean or not. Well, that looks really cool. It just wait, get away from the smoke. It just shows, it illuminates a lot on the snow. And if you press it twice, it's like police lights, which should be good if you're trying to get someone's attention. Oh, I guess they also flash colors. So I'm guessing this tree got struck by lightning. See how it's twisted all around it? But it's healing. I can see that it's healing. If we have enough rainy years, enough good growing years, that could heal itself. Or a couple years of more drought could kill it. Here's another one of the trees I said we lost. And there's 3 of them I noticed from the storm. Oh, here comes a pretty good gust of wind. Maybe I'll take the wagon over now. I'll make some video clips for my camping video, and maybe I'll actually get some of those snow-covered rounds, because that's actually stacked, so the top ones won't be frozen to the ground. I'll be able to kick them off, and I'll get another whole sled full of them, and I'll stuff that thing to the brim before I go in the tent. Then it'll definitely be ready to cook breakfast in the morning, because if I go to sleep at 1, wake up at 7 when the sun comes up this time of year, that thing should be ready to cook again. And I'm not going to cook anything. It's so cold that it's not really nice, because usually when I camp, I use hot tents in the winter. Then you can actually cook inside the stove. You can also, cook inside the tent. You can also cook with a little buddy heater in the tent. But today it was still. I cooked. It wasn't miserable. But if the wind does pick up, that'd be miserable for breakfast. Also, my body's not running like it is now. I'll be kind of cold. So if I can't just get that thing to rage and sit in front of it, then I won't cook breakfast. But I'm not going to cook anything like bacon and eggs. I'm just going to cook some canned vegetables or something, which I will run back in the house and get. When I camp in the yard, it's no secret. I go back to the house for supplies if I forget things. Also, in this kind of weather, you leave a can of food out that's not like right next to the fireplace like my drink, it'll be frozen solid in an hour. That's how cold it is. Maybe not solid, but frozen in an hour. But the only time I don't go to the house is if my video is titled like 24-hour challenge. Then I literally don't leave the spot. Like when I camp in the truck, I always do it. Or if I am out in the wilderness or a culvert, obviously I'm not going back to the house every now and then because it's just so far out. But that is one good thing about camping in the yard. If you forget something, you can go back and get it pretty easily. I consider it camping, just being out in nature. Everyone has a different definition of camping. Some people will bring a $2 million gigantic RV out into the wilderness. Some people consider that camping. Do I? No, I don't really. But whether you're camping in the back of a truck or camping in a tent, I consider that kind of stuff camping. Or what I do all the time, sleeping over at Walmart's. I'll consider that camping to a degree. But I feel like if you're out in nature, it can be camping, even with an RV. Well, this thing's not being as hot as it once was. It's probably not as bright as it was at the beginning of the video. It only lasts bright for like 30 minutes, but it'll stay lit for hours. The good thing about this light is it doesn't just go bloop off and it won't turn back on. It doesn't do that stuff. It won't strand you. It'll just get dimmer and dimmer. And I left it on once. After 6 hours, it's still projecting light, enough to get around. But it's only very bright and awesome for filming the first 30 minutes to an hour. It's good for filming. But once you get to like an hour and a half, it's so dim that it's not great for the camera. It's like the flash on your phone. But it'll stay like the flash on your phone for quite a few hours after that, so that's good. This stump here was another giant white pine. I cut it down because it was dead, and I wanted this camping spot without worrying about that thing falling over. And I'll probably cut this one down. I'm hoping a storm before winter's up knocks it to the ground, because this is a dangerous one to get. If I cut it, it's just going to get stuck in a tree. So this is one of those ones you got to notch it. It'll fall to the ground. You got to cut it again, let it fall, and eventually it'll be down. I don't like doing these. I'm hoping it's just going to snap and fall over on its own at some point during the next windstorm. But yep, I think I'm gonna go ahead and dump this out and go get another load. But I'll put that in my actual camping video. I just like to make a little vlog explaining things, showing around a little bit things. But I hope today's video was interesting. Thanks for watching and have a great night.